Hey, I'm Cullen Bunn, the writer of Harrow County.
And I'm Tyler Crook, the artist of Harrow County. And you're on Splash Page.
Sword of Omens, come to my hand. I, Lion-O, command it. Thundercats, ho! And you're watching The Dorkening.
Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. You are watching Splash Pages. My name is Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. We have an awesome show scheduled for you as always. And with us, we have Carrie. How's it going?
Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It is going great. I am so excited about this show. Oh my God. I got Drew told me about it, and yes, I squeed. I got super excited when we found out that we have these guests. I'm going to give you just a couple hints, but Drew will let you in case you can't read. We have somebody who I see perched upon a golden throne sometimes when he does these things, who has a matching Cthulhu to my Cthulhu, who is a master of horror. And we also have another man who does some beautiful watercolor drawings, also has the deep, dark Southern Gothic feel to him, as well as a mat and some chickens and some other critters. But who shall they be? We shall find out after we speak to Jar Jar.
You sure you don't want to do the intro, Carrie?
Seriously.
Hey everybody, welcome comic book lovers. It's going to be a wonderful night. As Carrie has alluded to, we have guests. So on to you, Drew.
And thank you, Jar. Much appreciated, buddy. Loving the thing. And yes, hello, welcome. It's Splash Pages. Everybody, we have some great guests, okay? Some would say they come from a far off place like called Harrow County. Some would say we saw them at a midnight show, maybe a Manor of Black. Sometimes it may have felt like hell on earth. But you know what? We're really excited to have them here as they insisted that they do this interview together, not separately, which is fine. It's great, wonderful. We're really glad to have them here. Everybody, with much further ado, and with the excitement of everybody here, not just one person, Carrie, everybody, the great Mr. Cullen Bunn and Mr. Tyler Cook.
Hey, everybody.
Okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. All right.
You guys, I had the time zones wrong. I usually get fancied up for these interviews, but I forgot the time zone, and Tyler texted me and said, "Where are you?" So you get me in my PJs. So.
That's fine.
I'm not allowed to stand up.
Yeah, no, he is not. I had nope. Jar, I've seen too many Muppets for that.
Hold on, just on that note, we did have a interview. It was a horror actress, and I'm not going to say the movie she was from, but she was from a very, very large movie, and we're doing the test for the audio and video before the show, and she goes, "Oh, you want to see something?" And she went to stand up and then stopped herself. She was bottomless. She was Donald Duck in it.
Wow,
Donald Duck in it. I like.
Wow, that is okay. Wow, that
I got to use
that. You know what?
It has happened before.
Oh, we're on the show. The show has actually started. This isn't the before banter.
Well, both of you, thank you so much for coming on, guys. We really appreciate it. Needless to say, we've done so much research prior to having you guys on. But I also want to say, again, Harrow County. Carrie, above me, was the one who told me about it, and I read everything. And the only thing I want to know is more is happening, right? We're going to get more. It's not over, right? No one died yet. So I'm just saying, like, that's the right.
Well, and even if they did.
So,
right.
You know, it's interesting because just today I started. There's so many weird things that go into these comics actually making it out in front of everyone. There is definitely more Tales of Harrow County. That's the follow-up to Harrow County.
Yes.
In my mind. Just today, I sat down and kind of started brainstorming my plan to make sure that happens. So I'm going to say a definitive yes, that there is more to come. There's a bigger story that is out there. It's just getting it done.
Nice.
Now, Tyler's going to say no, there will never be any more if he has any.
Oh, take the
Yeah,
dreams
it's
and crush.
hard. I mean, just schedules are crazy. Publishing is crazy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's hard
Totally.
to
You're
make
both
a lot
working on a
of long-term
lot.
plans.
Way to throw Tyler under the bus.
Well, he
Yeah.
wanted to do this together. He was so determined that we were together because he knew if we were
Yeah.
apart, I would definitely throw him under the bus.
Yeah. No. But I mean, like, and it was funny because, you know, like I said, we had a little extra time to prepare, and you comb through the interviews that you guys have done because you don't want to ask the same questions as everybody else did, and then it's when it comes to the moment, you're like, oh crap. You're like,
dude, I got tons of questions ready.
oh really,
let's
Jar?
do
Take
this.
it away, Jar.
All right. Cullen, first of all, well, both of you guys, Harrow County was great.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Draws you in like no other. I'm not a huge horror reader, so like for me, it was really interesting and like I enjoyed it a lot. That's that. But Cullen, you were doing Sinestro and Magneto at the same time. Crazy stuff. How did you make sure to keep them so different?
It was just I don't usually have a hard time keeping different projects separate. The big thing with those two, especially because they were both big superhero villains, is just I just kept in my mind always what made them different, and I kept that top of mind. So for me, it was, and I used to be able to rattle this off, and I've gotten tired and old. But Sinestro, I always kept top of mind when I started working on one of those scripts. Sinestro thought what he was doing was right, but he was doing what he thought was right for the wrong reasons. And Magneto was really the opposite of that. He never thought what he was doing was right, but he was doing the wrong thing for the right reasons. And that's how I kept those two kind of similar but different.
Oh, were you fans of the characters beforehand?
I was a big fan of Magneto, and I was anything X-Men for years and years. And Sinestro, I was aware from Super Friends when I was a kid, and then I liked the Jeff Johns stuff he was doing, like with the Sinestro War and stuff like that. Much bigger fan of going into it. Much bigger fan of Magneto. Probably they're even now in my mind.
Okay.
I'll let you guys jump in if you want to, or I can keep going.
Well, I actually did have one question. It's for Tyler. Is that, I mean, we read on top of Harrow County, we also read some of the stuff that you sent us, your own project. I believe the Lonesome Hunters, right? That's okay, cool. I'm always terrified of getting the name wrong. Like, well, with the style and whatnot, I mean, it takes place a little, kind of modern day-ish. Would you consider that, like, would that book be kind of like Harrow County adjacent, as in some way? Because I kind of felt some of the certain elements and whatnot. I was like, if there was some sort of crossover or something, or it's like a sister to that world, would that? Did you? I don't know. I was like, if that happened, I wouldn't be mad with it.
I don't think that they could cross over very easily story-wise, but I think tonally they're very similar, and that's probably like not. It's probably not much of a. And it's probably not a stretch to say that I learned everything about writing from working with guys like Cullen. So like, and especially Harrow County was such a long project for me that like I definitely took a lot of lessons from that about just seeing how Cullen puts together a story and paces things out and tries to build characters and stuff. And but I wasn't trying to do a Cullen rip. I was definitely trying to do my own thing. But But you know,
Okay.
I don't know. I think Cullen and I like a lot of the same sorts of stories too, like really character-driven stuff and stuff
Mhm.
that has a lot of heart to it, but is scary in a fun way.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm.
You're
Well,
both very
I
good at
really.
doing that. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, Carrie.
No, tell us what we're good at, please.
Oh, no, you're both very good at that Southern Gothic feel. You know, it's really, you get this deep rooted Americana kind of thing that's very dark as well. And I just love that. And what you did in The Lonesome Hunters, having this 126-year-old man and this young girl that end up thrown together, and he doesn't just they're talking anime and stuff, and he's really actually interested in her life, and she's interested and bonding with him. I loved how you had this whole other story going on with magic, and you know, the bad guys coming in this crazy church and all of these things going on, and yet there's still this whole bonding thing going on as well between these two people. And I love that, all the different things that you put
Nice.
together into that story. I wanted to praise you for it. So
Well, I think like I feel like the monsters in a lot of the stories that I work on, at least from my point of view, are sort of like just tools to get us to the characters to
Mhm.
do stuff. You know what I mean? If I could do like if you could do a straight drama story that was quite as fun, or at least
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like the monsters add a ton of fun to a story for a lot of people. But the part that I'm really the most interested in is almost always the human character stuff.
So
and
before, no, go for it, Carrie.
oh, sorry. And you use like the magpies and the rhymes, and then you're going into the wolves with the second part of it.
Mhm.
And that's something else that I like both of you for doing, is you pull in all these older, or maybe not well, they're older, but they're smaller little things. Like the magpies aren't, you know, it's not a vampire, it's not a werewolf, but it's an old thing. And you know, you always like you wave to the magpie or salute the magpie. Hello, Mr. Magpie, is your
Mhm.
how's your wife doing, so that you don't have the sorrow come down on you and stuff. And you both recognize those elements of things. Your comics both make me so excited, because you're all into the stuff that I'm into that not a lot of other people write about, and I love that.
Well, I think Cullen has a very good handle on folklore stuff, way better than I do. Like, you're sort of like obsessed with that stuff, aren't you, Cullen?
Yeah, I mean a little bit, but also with Harrow County, a lot of that stuff we just made up. It's like I wanted it to feel like we wanted it to feel like folklore. And one of the things I really love is we'll have people come up sometimes at signings and say, "Oh yeah, we used to have that story when I was when we were growing up, we had that story." Like, no, you didn't. You did. We made that up. We made it up for, or maybe they did, and maybe we just pulled it out of the ether. So I always, I grew up. I grew up hearing all these stories from my uncles and cousins and my parents. I mean, I still, if I see a blue jay on Friday, I get nervous because my mom taught me that you never see a blue jay on Friday. And that's because that's the day they go to hell to get their orders from the devil. And if you
God
see a blue
damn.
jay on Friday, that means the devil's here on earth at work. So you gotta be extra careful. And I love that kind of stuff. And I like just throwing those little asides into stories. Um, and then, I like making up stories that feel like that too.
So, when you first started this, Colin, and before you brought Tyler into it, Tyler, you weren't, from what I remember reading, weren't really into horror. Is that correct? And Colin sort of like brought you into it.
No, I had gotten into horror before I met Cullen, but I definitely was later to getting into horror than Cullen was. Like, I did not like I don't know. Didn't you tell the story, Cullen, of going to see like Terminator when you were like 9 or something?
I'm certain I saw Jaws when I was 4 or 5, and
Yeah.
it's one of my most vivid memories of going to a movie. So yeah, I probably saw I was really interested in horror movies and horror stuff very early on.
The horror stuff that like really got me going was when I was a teenager and started watching Twin Peaks and got into sort of the David Lynch vibe of horror. And at the same time too, I was listening to a lot of bands like Misfits and you know, Bauhaus and GBH and stuff, and guys that were doing like the horror punk stuff.
Right.
So that was like that was sort of how I like really started to approach it. And then of course, you know, doing getting into Hellboy and BPRD and stuff was big for me.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Drew to take us there.
Yeah, well, I was going to say is kind of piggybacking on some of what you, Cullen, you were saying. It's kind of reminded me of what I remember Mike Mignola kind of saying that he would, for his stories, he would take little pieces from different folklores and kind of amalgamate them into their own myths. So, like, again, it's familiar, but it's its own unique thing. And you know, that's kind of how I felt when I was reading Harrow County. It was like coming to reread fairy tales I kind of remembered when I was a kid, but then looking at them as an adult and then thinking, that's not how I remembered it. And now I'm a little more scared. And again, I want to make sure I have this right, because again, it's one thing to read it, it's another thing to say it. It's Haints.
Haints, you got it.
First try. Yeah. No, because you know, like I said, you know, when you guys also had the accents really down, because sometimes I notice with certain characters, people will really either go overboard on the accent or they'll just a little too subtle. But reading it, I was like, I think I got I could hear the characters in my head with the accents, and I was like, it makes it all worth it, because I was like, no, you have to have that you have to hear it as it is, you know. And you guys just did very vivid. Like, I was like, please tell me this is going to be a show one day, because shut up and take my money. Like, goddamn, you know. So,
are we shopping it as a show?
Oh,
yeah. It feels like we've gotten kind of close a couple times.
Really?
And it just always does its Hollywood thing.
Yeah, there's been a couple of pilot scripts written. Very different takes on the story, including I wrote one, and I think they got close. I think they've gotten close, but as Tyler says, it all, you know, it's, if you think it's tough to get a comic book made.
Well, even if they did like an anthology, even if they did like an anthology show where it was just like, as you said, Tales from Harrow County, like where it doesn't even have to all connect, it can just be all in this area, it would be fucking fantastic. I could see like people just eating it up.
Well,
like,
fingers
we
crossed.
need another Supernatural.
Fingers crossed. We're still, you know, we're never not trying. So we're always trying. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
So when you do get a show, where would you like to see it end up? You know, each company, you know, it has had its own, you know, ups and downs with bringing comic book shows or comic books to life. I think, you know, like Netflix has been doing a great job with like Umbrella Academy and whatnot. HBO did a phenomenal job with Watchmen. Where would you like to see Harrow County end up?
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. I try not to think about it too much, because that way lies madness. But you know, I think some sort of, you know, cable networks, you know, not necessarily like big network, but somewhere that may be a little edgier, maybe a little, take some risks. But it seems like that's everywhere now. There's everybody risks now.
So I actually had a question that will also put one of our characters, aka someone on a team, on the spot. So you guys really love snakes in Harrow County, and the symbolism has been fantastic. I mean, like, and I don't know if it's just how you guys did it, how Tyler drew them, like just watching, I think they were like copperheads or something, just watching them move and bite people and everything. I was like, oh God, I got to take a shower. God damn it. Like I freaked out. And fun fact, one of our members, Mr. Pond, has quite a lot of experience, and he's kind of our snake expert, as apparently his childhood, I think he might have grown up in a town like Harrow County because he deals with a lot of snakes. So, Leo, do you want to take, I set you up, big guy.
Yeah. Well, just a couple quick stories. Speaking of copperheads, my dad found a den of copperheads, and grew up on a family farm. And my mother keeps on telling the story with him pouring gas into the snake pit, waiting a little bit, then lighting it on fire and seeing copperheads coming out on fire. I moved back into the farmhouse after a life event. My mom had moved out. My dad had passed, and found the house had been infested with snakes. So I was killing about a dozen snakes a summer that were in the house.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know that I like snakes. They were always just around when I was growing up.
Right.
And at some point in the creation of Harrow County, again, another thing my mom used to say was, whenever you see a dragonfly, that's a snake doctor, and that means there's a snake somewhere. And that entered the story. And then, of course, if we're going to have dragonflies, well, if we're snake doctors, we got to have snakes in there in a big way.
Yeah, I grew up in sort of the Southwest in the desert, and so like the scary snakes that we had were rattlesnakes.
Oh wow!
And those guys are so much more polite than like cottonmouths, or because they give you a little, they tell you when you're in danger.
You get a
as opposed
warning.
to just like biting you to tell you you're in danger.
Yeah.
So I don't think I quite have the phobia, but I was like when the whole time I was drawing those snakes, mostly I was just trying to make my wife like freak out, because they grew up in North Carolina and in Texas around cottonmouths, and not care for them.
Yeah, those were the mean snakes that we had where I grew up, were the cottonmouths.
Well, I need to say
swim.
Well, I need to say thank you for not having like too many spiders, because that's my thing. So if you had some, I was like, oh no, nope, can't read this issue. Carrie, tell me what it was about. Can't do it. Nope. Like,
we should have done more spiders, actually.
It's shocking to me that we didn't do spiders, because it's such a.
Oh God, why did I have to say something?
I had just done another comic that had a ton of spiders, but it just always, when I first moved to Missouri, you're gonna love this, Drew. When I first moved to Missouri, we lived down this long dirt road that went a couple of miles off into the woods. And I remember driving down the road one day, and I was like, what is all over the road? And there were just blankets of tarantulas, thousands of them crawling across the road, because Texas brown tarantulas migrate through that area every year. And you couldn't get through without just caking your tires in spiders.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I
Where
just
is this?
read Crooked Hills last night, and that was real.
Yeah,
that actually happens.
That was all very, very true. That was,
I thought that was Marty fucking with him. Oh my God.
It's the spiders in the Ozarks, the tarantulas are no joke.
Okay, I'm sorry. Where is this again? I just need to mentally put a big thumbtack down on a nope.
Right on the edge of Missouri and Arkansas. You can get all the tarantulas you want.
Cool. Guys, we are never going to a convention in this area. If we even, I don't care who's there. No. Hell no.
Are those like desert tarantulas? Because desert tarantulas are very sweet, like won't bite or.
Don't care.
Mean, but they were big spiders. Yeah. We also had scorpions by the.
No, I'm scorpions.
Yeah, scorpions freak me out. I'm not a fan of those guys.
No, listen. Once you've seen giant scorpions in Clash of the Titans, I'm good. I was like, nope. Roger Corman made this. I cannot take you seriously. Just kill the thing. But no, thank you. So can someone else ask a different question? Because I'm starting to get skin crawlies.
Well,
Like,
in my research, I learned something. Oh, actually, no. Carrie had a question. Sorry, go ahead, Carrie. I saw it in the chat.
Yeah, I have many, but Cullen, I know that Harrow County and Cold Spots both started off as prose forms for you, and then you turn them into comics. And having just said that I read Crooked Hills last night, Crooked Hills #1, which makes me excited for there being more hopefully to come. Are you going to work on turning that into a comic as well? Or do you have plans for it? Or do you think about it?
I don't have any plans to turn Crooked Hills into a comic. I think my days of crossing those streams are probably over. I think, I'm writing a novel right now that I think could make a pretty good comic, but I'm like, this is going to be a novel. With Crooked Hills or with Harrow County, it died on the vine as a prose project. I just didn't continue it. So it wouldn't exist at all if it wasn't for the comic. So I think I'm gonna try to keep those two things separate. Now that doesn't mean I might start something as prose and not like it as prose, and maybe I'll want to shift gears. Sometimes that shifting of gears is what I need to keep the story going.
Okay, and it does great as a novel. I loved it. I'm excited. It's hard to find your stuff though as a novel. I look up Cullen Bunn on Amazon and books. Oh, which of these 200 would you like?
And I've done mostly comics. There's, I've stuck in. I've been a part of comics for so long, and I've written so many comics that yeah, pro stuff does kind of get lost in the shuffle. But my hope is there will be more. You'll definitely be seeing more pro stuff in the future.
Awesome.
I'm really looking forward to never having to work with an artist again.
Guys, I think that's our cue. We might need to go. Yeah. I think we've started something. I actually had a kind of a question for both of you. Because speaking of crossing the streams, there was something that I like my pop culture brain is. I think it was when Bernice they were dealing with the kid who they could only see the spirit that they could only see through. I think the keyhole. Yeah. And then she ends up trapping him in the lock. And I have to say this because this is where my brain goes, because I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. Like you talked about seeing Jaws when you were 4. That was my movie. And you talk about getting terrified of the shark. Me, it was the terror dog popping out of the kitchen. I was like, I thought it was a closet for the longest time, and I was terrified for a week. I was like, Dad, you got to leave the light on, because if you don't, that thing's going to come out, and I don't want what happened to Sigourney Weaver. Like, no way. But when she trapped the thing, I was like, oh my God, is Bernice a Ghostbuster? And I was like, no. They called them witches. Okay. But I thought that was like the coolest thing. And in my head, I was like, that's a little Hellboyish too, kind of, using some magic to trap an evil spirit in something. I was like, that's pretty dope, man. So
I don't remember thinking of Ghostbusters when we were doing that scene. I do remember in I guess it's Tales from Harrow County, Bernice is trapping goblins in gourds or something, and I was like, I didn't think of Ghostbusters then either. I thought of Pokemon. I was like, oh, this is like Pokemon. So
it's all good. It's all good, but that was just great, because I was like, that's a mean little kid right there. And I remember, he's like, no, we can. And he's like, nope, got this. All right, so you were saying, right? Yeah, but yeah, so it's great. So that's my question. I'm good. Next.
All right. You guys are both real comic nerds, right? You both still read comics and everything? Yes. All right. Cullen, I know that you have a treasury collection that you're planning to get hardbound.
Yes.
Did you ever get it hardbound? Because I'm a
haven't.
treasury collector too.
I haven't yet. I have all the treasury editions that all the publishers
Yeah,
publish,
same.
all the giant books. And my plan, I started getting my old comics bound into hardcover a while back. It just is more fun for me. It makes me actually want to read them instead of just having them sit in a box. So I've been getting comics bound for a while. I stopped for various reasons for a little bit, but I've still got boxes of books that are marked to be bound, and the trades or the treasury collections are all in there. The problem with the treasury collections is they're going to be expensive to bind because they have to have giant piece. They have to basically custom cut these, the cardboard and everything. So they're going to be a little pricey to bind. But eventually I'll do it. Right now they're just they're stacked in a closet somewhere.
When I heard you collected treasuries, I was just like, oh my God, there's somebody like me out there. I think the treasuries are like the coolest of the books that I own. Like they're hanging up on some of them are hanging from the ceiling, but the artwork and stuff they're just so beautiful.
Yeah, I just have fond memories of them from when I was a kid. I remember, when I got a treasury edition, it felt like I was getting something special. But I also just like odd shaped comics. Like I love the digest size collections that DC and mainly DC, but I guess Marvel puts them out too. But I love those too.
I like the little Untold Legends.
Yeah, that kind of
Batman.
stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome.
If you like
you guys
hard,
should see the German editions of Hellboy. I get comps of those occasionally, and they're like this thick, but they're
I love
itty
it.
bitty. They're almost like half page size.
Oh wow, I love it.
They're really cool.
That does sound cool.
They remind me of those Big Little books.
I was going to say that's what you were describing sounds like a Big Little book, which also I just have a thing for books that are either really big or really small.
Are you guys reading anything currently?
Yeah, I'm reading. I've been reading a lot of manga lately. I've been reading Witch Hat Atelier lately, which I've really been enjoying. It's really cool. It's one of those books that usually I don't like. I don't like fantasy stuff where like there's a magic system that is very well defined and like I like the magic to be a little loosey goosey. But Witch Hat Atelier for some reason hits a real sweet spot for me with their very specific magic stuff that they have to do. I think it's because they have to. In that book, they their magic is drawing. They have to draw these special symbols and stuff. So there's a lot of good. Like it's not even a stretch of a metaphor for it to be about like being an artist or being a drawer.
Okay.
I've been reading a lot. I've been reading a lot more prose probably lately than comics. Although I did read. I think they're all out now. I'm sure they are. Dennis Hopeless did a book called She's Running on Fumes that is just amazing. I think it's one of the best crime comics I've ever read, and it's full of heart, and it's kind of biographical about his own mother. It came out with Comixology, so it'll get collected as a trade. But yeah, it was just so good. And for me to say anything nice about Dennis Hopeless is a big thing because he's my mortal enemy. But it's such a beautiful book. I mean, it's just really great. It's like, and it's set in Missouri in the town of Deepwater, which what a great name for a town. It's a real town. It's just a fun. It's just such a. There's just so much heart in that book.
So, Drew, I know you had a question. I just want to say real quick, Cullen, if you're into hardcovers, if you have a Ollie's close to you, they have a Watchmen collection where they hardcovered each issue. It's like $27.
Oh wow! So, well, I don't have an Ollie's near me. I think the nearest Ollie's is probably 1,000 miles away from here. But
it's worth the trip.
Yeah.
Road trip.
Yeah, I've been hitting them up lately. They have a lot of trade paperbacks for like $3. It's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice.
Drew, you had a question?
Oh yeah. So, Cullen, one of the books that we read on one of our rare free days was we read your book, Midnight Show, which we all of us absolutely loved, and me, I mean, again, 4 issues, it just blew me away, and I'm reading it, and I was like, this kind of has like that the Monster Squad kind of feel to it, that nice Hammer movies, all these things. But I think the thing that I really enjoyed was like how realistic it was. Like some of those deaths came out of nowhere. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I was like, oh, holy crap! What did that Wolfman do? God damn! Like even the
So many
ending,
so
yeah.
many beheadings in that book, and it wasn't intentional, but there were a lot of beheadings. And yeah, you're right. It's a Monster Squad. Brian Hurt and I just love those kind of, we love the Hammer movies. We love
Mhm.
movies like Monster Squad. The book where Midnight Show wears its inspiration right on its sleeve. We're not apologetic. It's our Monster
Mhm.
Squad. It's our Waxworks.
Mhm.
It just, we wanted to do something that was fun and popcorny and also kind of violent and bloody.
Oh,
And apparently we like to write about beheadings. What's fun about that is, we only had 4 issues to tell that story,
right.
but Brian and I have like a list of every movie that Midnight Studios made. So we have a chronology of the movies and what happens in each of the movies, because we really just got into kind of building this world.
Oh yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like literally, I was like, if this was a movie, I would not only watch the crap out of it, I would hype the hell out of it. I would cosplay from it. Like, damn.
Just
Like it
came
was
out in
just,
May, I think. So
yeah.
read
So
the comics, get the
yeah,
trailer.
yeah. And then of course the ending was, I was like, oh boy. I was like that nice, the horror. Like we won, but did we really? You
Yeah.
know, that nice horror movie ending. I was like, oh, this is like, I was like, man, why can't Popcorn Summers be more like this? Like, give me this. You know, give me this instead of. I was like, how is Saw still happening? Like, why? Just he's dead. Stay dead.
19.
Yeah, exactly. We brought him back for the final one. Yeah. So I got Carrie. I know you have another question.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys this before the show, and then I didn't get a chance to, because I wanted to make sure I was doing my research. But like I said, I was also reading everything, because that's what I do. And so, yeah, so my brain is kind of oozing right now after last night and the day. But I'm pretty sure I read that one of you, we do a thing here, Variant Watch, because there's so many freaking variant covers out there these days. We love seeing the variant covers, but it's kind of like you wish you could just get a collection of just the covers. Just do that, because damn. But I'm pretty sure that I read that it was one of you that was talking about doing kind of a reversal of that, where you get the same cover, but the books inside are different. Was that, Cullen? Was that serious, or was that?
I have wanted to do a variant interior for so long.
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, and we kind of got close. I did a book called Cullen Bunn's Body Bags, which had variant stories in it, and the publisher was going to black bag it so you wouldn't even know which one you got until you ripped it open.
Whoa.
I don't think that'll ever come out. I mean, it would have been cool. I wrote a cool script for it. I just don't see it happening. So I got to try again. I got to try to figure out how to make this how to make a variant interior.
Maybe you do something like Clue, where every time you saw it at the theater, it was a different ending.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the idea. I don't know how you make it work and not irritate retailers, irritate readers. And I'm good at irritating people. It's my superpower. But eventually it'll happen. I may have to just draw it myself.
Oh boy.
And that would be a nightmare in and of itself. I should have mentioned this. Just last week, I bought a comic by my friend Aaron Conaway. It's called Jan the Vagabond. And Aaron's a writer, but he decided to write, draw, letter, everything himself on this comic. And there's just something about it that I was like, why haven't I been doing this? Because it looks like he's just having so much fun telling this story. And you know, I used to do it when I was a kid, so maybe I'll revisit some of my IP from when I was a kid.
Go back to the
Was that
yesteryear.
was that at Tremendicon you went?
It
You
was.
picked
It was
that
a
up?
tremendous. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Looks like you also got some D&D glasses, and that satchel looks awesome.
I spent so much money.
We always do.
Were you there, Leo?
No, I
Just
read
knocking him.
this.
He did the
No.
research, man.
I know, but like,
He-
wow. that's
Cullen
pretty
Cullen
impressive.
has an awesome newsletter, Nightmare Fuel. You got to check it out.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
Yeah.
So I had a question for Tyler. Being I'm a huge Hellboy fan, and I know you did some really good Hellboy work. Like, just what is it like, kind of playing in that playground? You know, there's been so many different creators there. You're working with Mike Mignola and on all of his collaborators, just contributing to that. Like I would love to I would just sit and just listen to stories of working in the. I mean, he hates being called the Mignola-verse. I know he's not a fan of that, but you know that term. But what was that like, man? That must have been awesome.
That was hard. I mean, that was my first like ongoing gig. Like doing BPRD Hell on Earth was like what allowed me to quit making video games and move into comics full time. And it was very demanding. And if I'm being honest, I don't think I was ready for that job when I got it. Like I really struggled through it a lot. Yeah, like I remember when I was doing that, I was like, because they hired me on, and when they first I started on that book, they were like, you're going to be the BPRD artist, you're going to replace Guy Davis, and you're just going to do all the BPRDs. And then a few, like maybe 6 months into that, they were like, yeah, we're not going to do that, we're going to bring in some other artists. And they brought in James Herron, and I was just like, they're gonna fire me. Like I can't compete with this guy. Jesus Christ! Like this is like, because he was like, his stuff was even really rough when he started on BPRD compared to what he does now. But like out the gate, that guy was just like on fire. So it was very stressful, and it was very challenging. Talking to John Arcudi about it, like he's told me that he didn't feel like he knew how to write for me until the very last story I did for BPRD, which was a one shot called The Grind. That was about a barista, you know, trying to get to work and make his way through his regular day, but like there's giant Audru Hem like propped over the town where he's living in, and there's, you know, military occupation going on. And like that was the first time I actually felt like I did a good job on a book, and that was also the last one I did on BPRD.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
The books I did are great. Everyone should buy them anyway. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't. I didn't know I was bringing up a sore subject. I'm just, you know, good work.
It's not a sore subject. It's just like it definitely feels like as soon as I got on Harrow County was when I feel like I sort of came into my own as a cartoonist.
Oh yeah, great stuff. Someone else, please.
You guys have an omnibus of Harrow County coming out this October, just in time, everybody, for my birthday on Halloween. If you want to, you know, get it all together, I'll put it on a wish list on Amazon or something, and you can all just kind of throw in some cash for it. It'd be a great thing.
Must be having
but
technical difficulties. I can't hear Carrie at all.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You presents? Yeah, maybe. So,
and, but there's a couple different versions, right?
So the book's been released in a couple of different formats, but yeah, the new one that comes out in October is going to be just a big fat. You can read everything Harrow County or the entire original series in one big volume.
Wow.
So yeah, it's everything except for the Tales from Harrow County. It's like it's got all the backup stories. It's got all of the back essays. It's got all of the intros that Chris Schweitzer put together for the library editions.
Mhm.
And it's a slipcase, and it
Nice.
is all inspired by the cover from Harrow County #1, which has the skin in the dresser drawer, and the
Mhm.
slipcase functions like a drawer where you have to pull the book out like it's a drawer, and you can see
Oh,
the
sweet.
skin
Wow.
folded up in there.
That is freaking dope.
I'm very excited about it. I think
Dude.
it's turned out really beautiful.
It's a really cool volume. I
And,
think it's great.
Amazing.
I think if people haven't read the book, it's a great way to read it. I think if people have read the book, it's such a pretty edition. I think you're gonna want it anyway, just to have it on the
Oh,
shelf.
totally.
It's going to go
Very
really good with
that
the satchel edition of the board
It really will. Yeah.
Wait, what?
You hear that, Gary?
So there's that's something you may not know. Do you have idea? Mine's out in the other room. Tyler designed. So there's a Harrow County board game,
Yeah, I saw this. This is so cool.
and Tyler designed this case that you can put the game in that looks like Emmy's satchel.
Whoa! What the? Holy crap! That is so freaking cool.
Oh, see, we should have got that and played.
Yeah, you should have. It's a cool game.
My God, Carrie,
it's
that's
by
what you get for your birthday.
Yeah, off the page games. It's available now anywhere you get your board games. Maybe not the edition Tyler just showed you. I think that was a Kickstarter exclusive.
Oh,
Man, that is freaking dope. Have you guys? I mean, it went on for a while. Did you guys ever meet any Harrow County like cosplayers? Did people ever dress up?
I don't think you know what? I've seen only recently though, somebody I think from Brazil posted some Hester Beck cosplay on Instagram that I saw.
Yeah, I always expected someone to come running up in like a slim Goodbody bodysuit that but yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a Harrow County cosplay.
I don't think I've heard a Slim
Not in
Goodbody
person anyway.
reference in like 20 years.
Oh God.
I don't know how. I mean, Slim Goodbody's top of mind all the time.
Wow.
Dear God. Okay.
So Tyler, doing the watercolor, doing pages, does that take longer? What's the process there? Like that's got to be nerve-wracking to me. Like I'm always
forever.
Takes forever.
It is really well, when I was doing Harrow County, I was a lot faster even than I am today. I feel like I've gotten slower and slower as time goes on. But yeah, it takes a long time. It is really I just did a short story for Oni Press is doing those new EC comics.
Yeah.
And I did a 6-page story for that where someone else colored it, and it felt like instantaneous to be able to like just ink a page and turn it in and it would be done and be like, now it's someone else's problem. But with Harrow County, I was lettering too, so it was like I was doing so much of the production stuff.
Yeah.
It was pretty intense actually. For 3.5 years doing that, and we were on basically a 6-week schedule on that. So I was doing 22 pages every 6 weeks.
Wow.
When you took the time off for issue, I think it was 9, you still did the lettering on that issue. So
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like
and you did the tales for Harrow County on that issue, right?
I don't remember if it was that specific issue, but I did a couple of those. Yeah.
I really like the lettering that you do with the sound effects kind of stuff when it looks like you move into like oils on some of those. I was like in how was it in Man or Black, or some of the different things you've done, there's that bright red with like the hiss or the attack or whatever with the yellows streaking through it, and that just pops and grabs you and sucks you into it. And in the Harrow County stuff, when like Hester's crawling up and there's like the slurping noises made out of mud crawling up. Also, every edition of Harrow County, how you came up with a different way, like in the clouds or in the cornfields, to have the title going on the front page. I really enjoyed all of that. That was some pretty creative stuff.
That was the title page title thing was something I swiped from early Swamp Things. I'm a huge fan of the Nestor Redondo run on Swamp Thing, and you know, he always had like it said Swamp Thing in the, you know, in the Spanish moss or whatever in the swamp, and yeah, that stuff was really fun. There was one issue where we forgot to do it though, so if you find that one, you win a
nothing.
You get haunted, I guess. Be haunted by. I've actually gotten like, I've gotten emails from people who are like, I've been trying to find it in this one issue, and I just can't find where it says Harrow County.
And you said, keep
I've had
looking.
to be like, I had to let them off the hook and be like,
Keep looking. It's in there somewhere.
Yep. To the boat.
All right,
No. I was just gonna say the satchel edition of the game. If anybody's looking for it, you can find it on eBay. It goes for about 150 to 250.
Nope. Nope. That's no.
I forget what the retail is on the regular edition. It's like $35 or $40 or something.
Yeah, it's pretty reasonable for a board.
Yeah, that's cool.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that I'm like, okay.
The company that put that together did a beautiful job on it. I think it turned out beautiful.
Oh yeah. Carrie, I know you have another question.
Oh, I have all the questions.
I know.
Keep rolling.
So, Cullen, in Cold Spots, at the end of it, you wrote a letter saying this is not the end of Cold Spots. We have a shared universe that we are making multiple things out of, and this will continue. And have I missed some of that?
I'm a big dreamer. I really, you know, when I say those things, I mean it. But
I believe you.
As Tyler said earlier, sometimes it's just scheduling and getting, you know, making sure publishers are into it and that artists can work it in their schedule and actually make a living wage doing it. It can be a challenge sometimes. More Cold Spots I should get all my list of things I want to continue, and I should get those custom hardbound like my comics, and I can put them on my all my notes of the books I want to do and want to continue. I don't think, very rarely do I sit down and do a limited series that I want to be just a limited series. I think publishing has moved into that, the 4 or 5 issue arc, and see how it goes. But I almost never, it's just, my brain doesn't usually work that way. My brain usually works on, okay, I can tell a story, but I want to tell more stories. And in some cases, I may intend for it to be a limited series, and then I fall in love with the characters and the world, and I just want to do more.
Okay. I wasn't trying to be, pardon me, I wasn't trying to be accusatory. I wanted to make sure I hadn't missed something from like I'm looking all over.
I forgot that I wrote that letter in Cold Spots, but it was, I mean, that's always been my intention, was, you know, there was a bigger world and more to tell in that universe.
There you go.
Leo?
Actually, just real quick, my apologies, Tyler. Looks like you have a newsletter as well. I just subscribed.
Oh, nice.
I'm sorry I missed that.
I'm
And
not very regular with it though, so I mean that's either a plus or a minus depending on how people like their newsletters.
No worries.
I'm averaging about 1 a year right now.
Well, that's fine.
It's more than I'm doing.
Do you send that newsletter via Pony Express, Tyler? Is that
it feels like it, man. It feels like it takes horses to drag it out of me sometimes.
What are you using for a mail program?
Squarespace.
Okay, nice. And
That's not hard. I mean, it's just sitting down to write one is hard for me.
yeah, I was just curious about the I my day job's in email, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
always curious.
Yep.
And Cullen, I saw you just did a trivia on Godzilla. What did you think of Minus One?
I thought Godzilla Minus One is not my favorite Godzilla movie. Nostalgia will not allow that, but I do think it is the best Godzilla movie.
Oh,
That's high praise.
no applause for that part.
I was a big fan of it.
Yes,
Did
it
you
was
watch it in black and white?
I have not watched the minus color version yet. Although
It is so good. I'm sorry, that's the one version I saw first, and I was like, "Wow, this is."
I was a big fan, but as I said, nostalgia won't allow me to say it's my favorite. It's just
okay.
Nostalgia. What is your favorite?
I really I like different ones from every era of Godzilla.
That is the right answer.
I really like my favorite is always going to be down as Godzilla versus Gigan, because my dad took me to see it in the theater.
Nice.
As part of a double feature. So, and I don't remember the other movie, but I know Godzilla versus Gigan was in there, and it's not the best Godzilla movie by any stretch.
No.
I just really like it for that reason.
Fair enough.
And I agree. Minus One is I absolutely love it.
It was so good. It was so.
I haven't seen the black and white one yet.
Well, Leo, wait. If only there was some way that you could get a copy of a legitimate quality.
Well,
If only. If only.
If only.
Wink, wink. Actually, Cullen, I had a question for you. Because Carrie mentioned that we brought up that we do a thing called Variant Watch, and one of them I know was that they were celebrating. They did a series of covers celebrating Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. Yes. I guess it's some sort of milestone this year, like 20th, 10th, or something like that.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it's because there's a movie coming out.
Yeah, there you go. So you did a lot of work with Deadpool, and I know because I've read a nice chunk of it. I think that was kind of during the Jerry Dugan era run, kind of. And I've read that. I believe Night of Living Deadpools was also you as well. All of these. And I'm a huge Deadpool fan myself. I actually cosplay as a Deadpool variant. So I'm not going to tell what it is because that would just.
True. You have to say.
All right. I do Deadpool. I do Winnie the Pooh crush with Deadpool, and it's hilarious. Thank you. Moving on. I've always felt that some people don't understand how to write Deadpool very well in terms of it's either too referencey or not enough. I feel like your Deadpool has that nice balance, which really works for him. How did you, like, when you were working on your projects, regardless of what they were, was there a goal? Was there like, okay, I'm going to do Deadpool like this or not this, or, keep this in mind forever? Like,
no, it just depends. It would depend on the issue. When I started writing Deadpool, I was not a Deadpool fan. I had a certain interpretation of the character that irritated me. And so I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do. So basically, I took that and I said, okay, I'm going to dial it back, because when any character someone hires me to write, if they hired me, they want my version, and they may differ, but then they may differ in opinion, but they shouldn't have hired me if that's it. So I just wanted to. I dialed back from that, and there were, it depended. Like with Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, I really wanted to write something that was sort of dark and sad. I did a book called Deadpool Assassin, where I was like, I want to write a Deadpool that people who don't like Deadpool will like this book. So it would depend, but it was always, I had this sort of this idea of, I didn't want to go as far as, I didn't want to go sort of the Looney Tunes zany Deadpool, but I recognized that Deadpool needed to have some humor to him in most cases, even if it was really dark humor.
Okay, cool, man. It was great either way. So,
you guys seen that? I think it's a Heineken ad with Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh yeah, I don't think that was real though. But
I was just online complaining about that because it doesn't make any sense, and I don't know how anyone like.
Yeah, I think Ryan Reynolds did that as a joke.
It might be, like, to fuck with people who like.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Like if the can was made out of adamantium, you couldn't open it.
You could if it's been scored or whatever.
It would have to be scored very thin, my friend.
Oh,
very
thin. So can he cut through his own bones?
Of course he can. He's a comic book character. You got to write it in a way that makes sense. Anything's possible.
There is a tool that has become very popular among comic book publishers in recent years that answers all of those questions. And it's called the multiverse, because some multiverses, sure, that can happen, and others, no.
Oh, yeah.
It can't. It just all depends. And if you read a story that you really don't like, and you're, oh man, that makes no sense. It's okay.
Well, it's Earth 489.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go with imagination. I was like, imagination. But you went with multiverse. I was like, that was cool.
It's multiverse is the current buzzword. I mean, it's still a buzzword, right? I'm a little over the multiverse, but
no, it is. That's the big word now. That's the convenient plot hole. How do we make this work? Multiverse. I'm in.
I'm all for any kind of magical mumbo jumbo that I don't have to worry about something anymore.
Yep. You know.
I'm just curious. Are worrying so much about comics? Come on, you ain't got anything better to worry about?
Nope. Our lives are meaningless and small, sir. We need this. We don't have anything.
Are either of you caught up on Batman?
No.
Which one?
Thank you, Leo.
Probably about 5 issues ago, they had Batman jumping through the multiverse, and he was like collecting a different item from each Batman.
I was about to ask, is Grant Morrison still writing that?
No, not. Yeah.
Wow.
Cullen, Cullen, you're carbon dating yourself, but because I understand, because I've been there myself. I was like, what year is it? Who's writing Batman? That will help determine what year it is. I was like, oh, okay, good. I still care. But I did have one Harrow County question and I apologize, but like there were so many great moments in the series. Did you guys have a personal favorite? The one that, like, looking back on, you were like, yeah, this is my baby. That's my favorite. That's the one that you loved working on the most.
I don't know. I mean, they're all so good.
They're story. Okay. Yeah.
I know that Tyler, you can go first. You can say your favorite.
Yeah, that's rough. Like there's all sorts of like little moments that I'm still in love with. Like one of my absolute favorites is a scene when Emmy is doing the laundry and talking to the skinless boy, and she's hung the skinless boy's skin over the line, and he just sort of reaches up and holds his own hand while he's talking to her, and I've always loved that. And I love, like, there's a great scene with Emmy and Bernice singing that Tipperary song. I really like that.
Yeah, there's a bunch. It's a bunch of little stuff. I like the introduction of Levi a lot. I thought it was a fun introduction. I like Levi. There's a little interaction between the Abandon and Levi that I really liked, and I thought it really set up a lot of the stuff that was gonna come in just like a couple of lines. I thought really paid off. I think the most horrible stuff I wrote is when there's some stuff between Emmy and Cammy that I think is pure horror fuel, and I like those scenes, even though I thought they were. I think they're hard to. I think they're hard, and it makes me sad for Cammy because she suffers and is so scared in some of those scenes, and the way Tyler drew it, it just elevated it a lot, I think, and it makes it kind of heartbreaking and sad. And then I like when Emmy and Bernice. I hate it, but I also like the arc where Emmy and Bernice are at odds with each other.
The frog fight is pretty great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What the hell, man?
Yeah. I also like the last issue. There's a lot of double page spreads at the very end, and those are really, really fun to do, because I felt like that was, after 3.5 years of working on that book, I was like, I'm gonna take everything I learned about drawing the woods and like go ham on this stuff, and that was pretty fun.
Okay, I had another question for you, Cullen, and I know that you've answered this in multiple interviews or that you've discussed it, but I want it on our show as well. So there was an experience that you had when you were in college with a haunting that I saw in one of the letters that you were answering.
Is this about
with an old lady?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just trying to get it set up for you if you what that's inspired from you and stuff.
Yeah, I mean there was a time in my life when I was living in, I don't know, I mean I'd had that bed for a little bit, I think. But I was living in this little apartment, and every night this old woman would appear at the foot of the bed and would just stand in the shadows, whispering, speaking in some language I couldn't understand. And sometimes would run up to the side of the bed in a freaky way, and it was really affecting me in my day-to-day life. And I worked with this guy at Walden Books at the time. Talk about carbon dating me. I worked with this guy at Walden Books who was a professional ghost hunter in his spare time, and I invited him over. I was like, man, I need to know what's going on. There's something in my house, in my apartment. And he came in and looked around the apartment. And he just kind of looked around the bedroom, and he said, don't sleep in that bed again, and you'll never see her again. And I never did either of those. I never got in that bed again, and I never saw that creepy old hag. And that old woman, in a lot of ways, is,
dude, I'm getting chills just from the story.
Is the inspiration for Hester. And I do occasionally have like recurring dreams about, and I'll probably have one tonight. Thanks so much, all of you.
Sorry.
I do have these like recurring dreams about this terrible old witch that haunts wherever I am. And maybe there's a little bit of Hester in a little bit of her in Hester as well, because I've been having dreams about that creepy old hag forever. That creepy old Blair Witch, whatever she is.
If it helps at all, I've been having nightmares from your books, and I don't normally get nightmares. Well, I mean, like I get nightmares a lot, but not based in something.
Yeah.
So
I call that witch, and Tyler didn't like the name, so we changed it to Hester Beck. I call that witch for years. I've called her Maddie Someday, and she's always been. I think I remember that was going to be your name in Harrow County, but for some reason you didn't like Maddie or something.
Yeah, it sounds like something that I wouldn't like, but now today I'm like, that sounds pretty cool.
It's a cool name. I can't have it. I'm going to use it in something else. So there'll be Hester Beck's cousin from
maybe that name is cursed, like just because you'll use it someday.
Yeah.
I just read it last night.
Yeah, Maddie Someday.
There you go.
I apologize. I know we are past time. I just wanted to ask one last question here. So Cullen, you have two short films, Watching and The Bleed, and you just released Watching on your YouTube. I had a chance to watch it right before the show. Absolutely loved it.
Well, thank you.
Weird and creepy.
Just released it
very creepy.
this evening. Yeah, so like just before I came on here, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just there's a local film local film production company I met at a convention last year, and we started talking about doing some short films together. I like short films. I really watching. You know, our budget on that film was $0. That's how much we spent to make Watching. So and then next week I'll release The Bleed, which is the other one we did. I'll release that online too.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's a fun format to, mess around with.
Nice.
And Watching, really good. Watching's basically an apocalyptic. It's a super apocalyptic movie that we did with no budget.
I feel it's rather real too, though, because it's pretty much what everybody's doing. We all see the problems going on, and nobody's doing anything about it. Nobody in power who has any ability to do anything about it is doing a goddamn thing. Yeah.
Well, also, it leaves a ton to the imagination. So, I mean, as she's telling what she's seeing, like for me, I was just thinking the worst. Like first I thought it was, just the end of the world and just people like, killing each other. Then
they're crawling over the cars.
Guys, there might be someone here who hasn't watched it and maybe wants to see it for himself. So,
watch it, Drew.
I'm okay. Just saying, I just don't spoil so much of it.
Say it's awesome.
All right, good. Well, then I'm going to watch it.
Well, watch it. We'll discuss it next show.
Fine, I will. God, I'm going to take this from you. God. I'm sorry. But yes.
We should wrap with these guys because we're like 15 minutes past the hour.
I know, but they have such good stories. I mean, they're leaving us chilled.
Set me up a beat, Tyler.
I was waiting for someone in this cadre to make the rap joke, and I did not. But
I volunteer.
Thank you for just subverting my expectations.
You're welcome. Splash pages, yeah. But no, thank you both for coming on. We really do appreciate it, and this has been great. And you're both, either one of you, or together again, who knows? You guys, you're welcome back anytime, please. Like, this is awesome.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. Whenever new books drop, you should let us know because we'll be on that.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, guys.
Totally loved having you, and I'm sure Carrie has another 2 hours worth of questions. So we'd love to have you back anytime. So speaking of that, we'll kick it over to Tyler first. Where do you like people reaching out to you or following you on the interwebs, and are you going to any conventions soon?
This Saturday I'm going to be at Books with Pictures Con, which is a one-day show in Portland, Oregon. And then online, I'm mostly on Blue Sky and Instagram, and I just started a Kara account, and I'm Mr. Tyler Crook on all of those.
Awesome. I'm interested to see where Kara goes.
But I do a YouTube live stream every Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So if you just look for Tyler Crook on YouTube, you'll find me. And then sign up for my newsletter at mrcrook.com. I think that's everything.
Awesome. And we have a lot of your links in the show notes below as well.
Oh, nice.
And Cullen, what about you? I know you just went to a con and you have some coming up, and where do you like people interacting with you?
I think the easiest place to get through, I'm on all the social medias as Cullen Bunn. The easiest place to probably reach me is at cullenbunn.com, because I post my newsletter there, and you can subscribe to it from there, and you can reach all my other social media from there. But yeah, I do a weekly newsletter, mostly weekly. and where I talk about everything that's going on ad nauseum, maybe. And then I'm not doing a ton of conventions the rest of the year. In October, I have AuthorCon in St. Louis, which is a horror focused convention. I'm real excited about going to. But yeah, if you follow the newsletter, you'll get links to all of that. And then I have a Discord, I have a Patreon, so there's lots of places to find me and interact with me.
Awesome.
Will do.
Yeah, I definitely, check the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. We have a lot of links there. And I didn't mention before the show, but if you gentlemen don't mind, at the bottom, there's a leave studio button when you're ready to pop on out. And it'll prompt you to an uploads page. We record all the audio and video separately because we do post editing as well. So if you have any issues, we can send you a link afterwards as well.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you both.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
It's good seeing you, Cullen.
It's good seeing you too.
All right.
No, you first. No, you.
No, you first.
No, you first.
Excelsior!